Well, with me in the studio is security consultant Darlington Umoru. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Veronica.
And also joining us via Zoom from Abuja is security expert, retired Commodore Abimbola Ayuba. All right, Abimbola Ayuba, retired Commodore, will join us much later when he's around. But let's come to you, Darlington Umoru. You saw that report, and our correspondent says about 22 police operatives lost their lives and the destruction of 205 police formations happened during the hashtag #EndSARS protest. But one of the things that came up out of the hashtag #EndSARS protest was police reforms and the need to improve on their welfare. Now this is 1 year after that. Has anything really changed? Have we seen an improvement in the welfare of the police and in the relationship between the police and the people?
I don't think so. I think the only thing that changed is the scrapping of SARS, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad.
Really?
Yeah, beyond that, I've not anything. I was somewhere in one of the police formation. I don't want to mention specifically.
Right.
And I was sitting down with somebody in the Mami market, and the person was drawing my attention to something that was going on. And what was that was going on? A tailor was openly sewing police uniforms. A tailor was openly in the Mami market sewing police uniforms in a police formation. Is that tailor the tailor for the police authority or a private tailor? Those who were patronizing them, was it the authority, the police authority, that gave him those uniforms to be made for its members, or individuals who were buying their own uniforms were the one patronizing that man? It was a thing I couldn't provide an answer to, but it was glaring, it was obvious. The EndSARS, I have said this over and over and over again and again and again. I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. The EndSARS in itself, the motive was meant to help the policemen, police officers. It was to highlight what the average policeman was going through, the sufferings, how much do they earn, what is their numerical strength across the country. Even so, how are they maintained? Most of them buy even their boots. Some buy their uniforms. They provide money, like you go to certain police stations, they tell you they don't have certain logistics. Is the authority providing those logistics for them to act, particularly when it comes to reactions or reactionary measures? Do they really have the capability? That's why some will tell you that when they went to a police station to report a particular incident, the police will tell you they don't have vehicles or they don't even have fuel in their vehicles. Who is supposed to provide that? Is it the man that is lodging the report? Or the police authority? At
the end of the day, the person lodging the report has to provide. That
yes,
is what we see.
It is very serious. And then we've seen situations or had situations where people from their homes call specific numbers that are supposed to be emergency numbers when you have some emergency in your hands. And then those numbers, they tell you different stories. The problem is not the average policeman who dons that uniform. What is the authority doing? The police reform. It's not today. What is the police commission doing? What have they done to help the average policeman? What have they done to improve the lives of these people who are there waiting to receive bullets on behalf of the civilians? If there's an armed robbery case, who do you call upon? The police. And these people are not well equipped, for goodness sake. And then there's anything you talk about corruption, many of them are corrupt. Again, they are not meant to be corrupt. But even so, have you looked into the circumstances
that have pushed them into being corrupt?
Have you looked into it? These are men, our brothers. These are women, our sisters, our mothers, our daughters. The Nigerian police and SARS came up to say the original ideology. Let us not mistake
Before it was hijacked, yeah.
Well, if you say it was hijacked, the original ideas, the demands was to remove SARS out, take them out because they had become a menace at a point in time. SARS is a special squad,
special anti-robbery squad.
Yes, meant to tackle armed robbery activities or tackle armed robbers headlong specifically.
Right.
But we saw that they digressed.
All right.
They missed the track, and then they were into some other things,
which a lot of persons were unhappy with. Thank you for staying with us. We're still looking at developments around security with regards to the hashtag #EndSARS protest, the level of losses, and the fact that one of the agendas that was pushed by the hashtag #EndSARS protesters was police reforms. And we still have our guest in the studio, Darlington Umoru, a security consultant, and you were speaking with us with regards to what is the police commission doing, if the problem is the challenge of the executive or the police commission. Monies are budgeted, but not much is seen with regards to the police. And then I asked the question, who is holding them to account? But then before we go on to that, we'll see, these are visuals from the Lekki toll, the point for the hashtag #EndSARS protest last year. And this year, protesters had said that they were going to come out to protest again in commemoration of the one-year hashtag protest. But then before then, building up to this day, we had seen security operatives, you know, beefed up. The state had beefed up security around the Lekki toll. We see policemen and their police van. We saw the army earlier. We saw some other security personnel, you know, at the Lekki toll. About 2 persons were taken into the van, although we do not know the conditions for which they were arrested, but we know that 2 persons were taken into the van. And one of the questions that came up was the relationship, show of force. Stemming from what happened last year, should we still be going in that direction, talking about making arrests? People just came out. Do we need to arrest them again? Shouldn't we be looking at relationship, building better relationship, talking about the police and the people now moving forward, stemming from what we saw happen last year?
Apparently, yes, we're supposed to have a robust dialogue, you know, the police and the people. It is the constitutional right for any disgruntled person to protest over issues he or she is not satisfied with. But the manner in which you go by that protest, again, is very important. In this part of the world, people come up with ideas, you know, they want to talk about, they want to protest over. But there are people who are also waiting on the wings, you know, just to see how much they could hijack what you want to do to achieve their own private selfish motives. Again, talking about engagement, have we really had representatives of the youth, of the people, who come out to say, okay, engage us, let's dialogue, and then let's have a way forward? It's almost like a faceless leadership thing, which apparently becomes a bit difficult to have people to talk with.
But some persons believe that it's not a problem.
You think it's not a problem. They have leadership, but just that the leadership is faceless. How do you say it's not a problem? How do you go about it? Who do you discuss with? Who do you dialogue with? Do you go to the street and stand and say, oh, you who is there, come out, let's talk? Do you carry a microphone and begin to do a campaign on the road? How is it going to be achieved? But that is not a license to use brutality, because police brutality is one of the things the youth also protested against. Okay? But the truth, let's tell ourselves the truth. This whole idea of giving excuses does not work for me. It does not work for me. Let's be practical. And then let's go down on earth and begin to look at it and identify the way it is. Let's not begin to be theoretical, begin to want to import what happens in other places. In other places where you have, we've seen protests in the past where the protesters have leadership. You say, okay, even when they are accosted, you say, okay, who do we talk with? The two persons who were taken now at the target, they may be sitting down there with the police. Perhaps they may not have been taken to a cell or something.
No,
But
they were kept in the van there.
that's what I'm saying. That's the first measure. Take them, don't encourage the build-up. Okay, if you say you don't want a build-up, if the police says we don't want a build-up, we don't want protest, of course you know that as much as you have a right to protest, the police also has a right to protect you, the protesters. The police also has a right to ensure that that protest is not hijacked by hoodlums who are waiting to use that against the people the protest is supposed to work for. And then those who are also waiting to use the opportunity to loot. Of course, you are aware.
But then this move, don't you think it can also cause a stir?
Which of the moves? Taking
the two people and keeping them in the van.
The authority has said no protest.
Okay.
Now, if you went about, they said no unlawful gathering. Now, if they found you doing that, what would they do? Perhaps they will take you and begin to talk with you.
Right.
Maybe keep you somewhere and begin to discuss with you. Apparently, what the police must not do today is to apply force.
All right.
Because the people are agitated. The moment you want to apply force, then it will degenerate.
Right.
Because, of course, don't forget that the degeneration of the last protest was what led to the looting of even the armory of the police. If you remember, the police armory in several formations were looted. Are you saying that those who looted the police armory or looting of the police armory was a part of the original agenda?
Not at all.
Although, there you go.
Right.
And so, how do you prevent that? How do you, now so they have said they don't want a reoccurrence because of the antecedent of the protest.
So like you have said,